Alrighty, traders, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever it is, wherever you are in the world. Hopefully everyone had a great Thanksgiving weekend for those that here in the US that celebrate that. I certainly had a great weekend, played a lot of golf this weekend. In fact, I hit a 73. I haven't even told Chris about that. Yeah, he played 73 yesterday. So it was a good game of golf, but a great weekend as well. And hopefully everyone's had the same as well. Like every week, we talk about the markets here at the early start of the week. We discuss market opportunities between Chris, myself, and a couple of the other analysts as well. And today I've got Chris and Tyson with me today to talk about the market. So let's go ahead and dig into it. Chris and Tyson, good afternoon. How are you guys doing?
Take it away, Tyson.
Doing good, Gary. It's good to be here. It's been a few weeks since I've been on. A couple trades I want to brag about, and a couple trades I want to beat my head against the wall about and figure out what's going on.
I'm still going to ask you about the Aussie New Zealand dollar and why we haven't seen
price. Well, we got to ask about the Aussie dollar too. We got to figure out what's going on because I want to talk about that. But it's not all bad. I've got some things. KCAC, we can't forget about some of the call-outs that I've had with some stocks. We'll talk about that also. But yeah, things are well.
Yeah, with
good,
that,
Chris.
With that KCAC, now it's QS. So new ticker for that one today, Tyson. I just noticed that was a nice little 300% banger today. When I saw, I was like, hey, wait, where's my limit buy was canceled when they switched the ticker, and I was up like 300% today. So I went ahead and grabbed some profit, getting back in. Try to get back in around like $25 if it gets pulled back. Add more to my position. Yep. But good stuff, man. Yeah, all good,
got
Gary.
Another one for me today too that we'll talk about.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. Nice. Much needed holiday weekend. I had my computer off for 3 days, and that was the first time probably all year. So it felt pretty nice just to kind of decompress a little bit, but back at it and ready to finish the year strong.
Listen, if you take enough time, we need to add more work onto your calendar, man. Come on, you can't take up time. The weekends are not to relax. It's supposed to be working. I'm just kidding. I'm glad you had some quiet time there, my friend. Yeah, exactly. So, guys, we've got a couple of things coming up this week with regards to some fundamentals. We've got the RBA rate decision, rate statement coming out this evening at 10:30. We're going to talk about the Aussie pair. So, just on Tyson's point, let's talk about some Aussie crosses. What's going on with the Aussie crosses? Then we've got tomorrow. We've got the Fed Chair Powell that testifies. Of course, the election, everything that's going around the election right now, that's still obviously a factor. We've got Brexit coming at the end of the year. We're going to start seeing some news on that. We've got GDP coming out on Tuesday as well for the Aussies. So quite a bit of Aussie data coming out this week, really in the start of the week. And then on Friday, we've got the average earnings. We've got non-farm payroll, some US data coming out as well. We may need to take a look at the dollar index and see if we're going to get some movement out of that. Unless, of course, everything's been waiting on the sideline to see what happens with the election results and the voter fraud that's been currently right now in the court cases. So let's start off. Aussie. Tyson, you want to kick us off? What's your 2 cents on the Aussie US dollar?
This has been full disclosure. This has been a pain in the butt. Now, good thing is I don't over leverage trades, and so I can sustain illogical moves that go against me for quite some time. What's frustrating about this trade for me the most is that it's a trade that I kind of got a little too greedy on because it was in the profit. In fact, it was in the profit when all three of us were together on election night. It flushed down. We had quite a bit of profits. I had quite a bit of profits. Traders with me in Turning Point Max had quite a bit of profits. But sometimes following rules to a T sounds really good, but you can get in your way if you kind of just say, well, I'm just going to stick to what the robot says, or I'm just going to, sometimes, we got to kind of balance it out with what does the robot say? Also, what does our logic say? And so, but, going through a drawdown right now, what I got to figure out is, where is some areas where, because we are due for a pullback. Now, why would I say that? Well, same reason why we were due for a rally when the market fell, in a matter of, 5-6 months fell, 30-40% from, 73 down to 55. Okay, that's a little too far too fast. Well, from going to 55 to up to where we're at, even with this little small pullback that we got a month ago or so, it's still, my belief as of right now, technically speaking, is whoever wanted to buy, and I think maybe this thing is going much higher long term, but whoever wanted to buy at this moment has bought, which means a lot of the buyers they're already in, and so they're going to get prices eventually going to get to a point where they say, oh, I've got a lot of profits in place. It's time for me to take those profits off and look to buy back at a lower price. And so that's the next move. It's just a matter of, is this kind of recent high that we've put in, this double top formation, is this going to hold or not? I think today is an important day. I think today's a really important day. I like what happened today. In fact, today's bar, Gary, Chris, could be an absolute beautiful bearish engulfing bar. We got a break above the high of Friday. We got to break below the low. If we close, I would say this: if we close lower than Friday's, let's see here, lower than Friday's open, I think that's a pretty bearish. So basically, the body of the bar, today's bar, fully engulfs Friday's bar. I think that's a really bearish sign, and I think that what traders can do if you're not in this trade is set a trade up to sell on a break below today's low. And target, one thing I don't know that I've kind of been, I will kind of come back off of. So I'm still bearish. I will come back off. I'm not convinced we're going to get down to where my target was originally. I was thinking we were going to get down to that 65, 66 level. I'm not convinced we're going to get down there anymore. I think having a target of 70, 50 or 70, 75 right in there, I think is pretty fair. And then we'll see how price responds at that. But I'm just looking for, we just need to see some proof that the bears can start to break this down. I can tell you this right now. If I look at this chart, I'm not a willing buyer. No way. Maybe if we break above, there's some argument of this double top. I'm not a willing buyer. What goes up comes down, especially in the currency markets. And there's technicals based on 382s and wave analysis and all that that tells me we need to retrace. So I still like the short side. I really want and hope is not a strategy, but I really want and hope this high point that we put in today to hold. I want to see bearish a bearish push come in within the next day or two. And if it doesn't, then I'm going to be a little more concerned. So hopefully we see some bears come in. What do you guys think?
Well, actually, I was going to say, Chris, it sounds like Tyson is really trying to convince himself to hold on to his trade. No, but
I'm
Tyson,
going to hold on regardless, man.
You know what?
This thing's coming down. It might not go down to where I thought it was going to go, but it's overbought, period.
Yeah.
It is.
But what is key right here?
I think we're going to have the range, like 7,400 to 7,000. Like, I mean, Aussie pairs have had probably one of the best trending years they've had in 2 years, right? We saw, like, 2-year downtrend, crazy flush out, crazy flush. It's like you get all-time lows to buy at or pretty close to it. And now that we had, like, this really aggressive trend cycle from February to August, it's like we're just trying to figure out where the new range is for that Aussie dollar to hang out. So I think 7,400 is a great level for resistance. We've got tons of targets back below. We've got tons of pockets and inefficiencies as well. And what great spot, 7,400, very little risk to the upside with 7,000, pretty easy support to the downside. And you don't have to hold it all the way down there, but it's a great spot to be a seller, that's for sure.
Yeah, so let's go to the chart and just break it down and just once again reconfirm what Tyson's doing here. And I think the one good thing about what you said there, Tyson, is that you haven't over-leveraged your trade. So you have got some buying power still left in that trade. If you have to go ahead and say, now I'm convinced it's going to go ahead and now move to that target, I can start adding to that position and get in and out of those positions, or even get into the position and stay much longer because now you've got a better price that you've entered in at. But if you take a look at the chart right here, Tyson, the one thing that, that I was actually surprised as well that we did actually rally back up to 174. To 0.74 right here, because we are expecting price to go down to this, and I've been speaking about that in my trading room. So I'm on the same page as you here, Tyson, looking at 68.12 or 68.17 actually. So 68.17 is a target to the downside. Now, if I look over here, we do see like a rising wedge forming, and yes, that candlestick is important, but I think it's also important that we stay below 73.43. So which means that if you do have the close that you're looking at, I'd like to push out a little lower than that and break through this rising wedge. And then we've got a short-term target that's going to chase after this level right here, just below 72.40 to the downside. What it does there, we'll wait and see. But we also have the divergence. We've got bearish divergence here on the daily as well. So I think this is probably a good time to start adding to your position and start and say, hey, listen, I'm going to add a little extra to that if you've got the room for it. Because I think if it starts going south, you can start making a decision once it takes out that 70, let's call it 72.30 level, or 7200. Around about there would be a decision making again, whether you want to hold on to that trade or wait for the pullback and then get back in again and look for a further downside move. So I'm on the same page as you guys, man. I think it's a good place to continue to hold selling. Let's go to Aussie New Zealand dollar. And I think, Chris, on Aussie New Zealand dollar, what is your deal on this? Because I remember it was Tyson, right? Said not going to go above until December. Below before December. Tyson, what's up with that, buddy?
So that's a good question. I was right for a couple days. And then I was wrong.
You know what?
Yeah, it's breaking down, which is kind of crazy because the first thing that comes to my mind when I see that is New Zealand dollar. Because the New Zealand is so strong right now. Yeah, we think the Aussie's strong. I mean, look at the strength of New Zealand. But yeah, no, Gary, you've been spot on. And what is cool about, so I was right initially for the first couple days, and then it didn't quite get up to my target. It almost got up there, but didn't quite get up there, and then it's fell. And what that's done is this. Good professional traders should have been able to manage a profit on that first rally because there was enough profit to be had. So that when I called it out buy, you should have been able to manage some good profit. So hopefully you did. But then also what it's also confirmed for you is patience, discipline, follow through with the plan. And that's exactly what you've done. You've been just following through with what you're planning. You had this plan. You said, hey, I believe we're breaking below here. I'm going to stay on the sidelines until that happens. You were wrong short term, but you're right now, and it's actually ended up paying off pretty nicely for you. So hopefully some students will be able to capture some pips on that upside move. You didn't just hold it the whole time. If you did, then you took a little bit of a loss. It happens. But now we're getting closer to your buy point, right?
Right. Well, in fact, this proves we had that discussion. We said that there were different ways to trade the market depending on what type of trader you are. If you're trading short term, great opportunity, as you pointed out, and there was good profit to the upside. But at the same time, if you're following a certain rule, a certain strategy, and you're like, okay, I'm looking at this for more long term, so I'm waiting for price to get to a certain point, and only when it gets there, now I'm going to start to go back to opportunities on the lower time frame. And actually, if you go to the, I'm going to go to the chart right here, and I'm going to flip over to the target trading strategy right here. So since we broke below, notice right here, let me go ahead and clean up house a little bit here. But you notice that since we got below that the level of that support level based on what we spoke about there, price hasn't gone bullish yet. We stayed bearish and we've remained bearish on the Aussie New Zealand dollar. And my 2 cents, or at least the conversation we had was, hey, once we get below there, now we're going to start thinking about looking to buy long on the Aussie New Zealand dollar, but it hasn't confirmed a signal yet. So there's that patience, like you mentioned, Tyson, that patience where you have to wait on the signals in order for you to be able to go ahead and trade it. Right now it's not there, so we're just going to stand on the sideline. Now, that doesn't mean that traders aren't looking to sell. If you looked over here, if price rallied up here, which is just a wave 1, this is why we looked at that, by the way, Tyson, at the time. You see we had a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, so it was in a wave 4 correction, and that's why we said, hey, it's coming back down to the 127 right here. When it gets there, then we're going to start looking to buy it back up again, because now our target on this to the upside is going to be this level right here. This is the 4th wave up here. So this is where we're going to look to trade it once we get in on the 1 hour time frame. There it is there. So we're going to target that level, which is the 4th wave right here. So opportunity for those traders that traded the swings down from 4th wave to the 5th wave. Now we're looking for a turnaround to the upside, and we're seeing some good divergence here. Look at that bullish divergence. So we're expecting Aussie New Zealand dollar to rally. So if you're still bullish overall on that, then it's in a good place right now to start looking for this upside rally. Let's move it. Let's shift it on to the dollar index. Let's go to the dollar index right here, because we have non-farms coming up. We've got, of course, election issues right now. Let's take a look and see what's going on with regards to the dollar index. Dollar index is slowly moving down, but look at the divergence we have on this. Chris, what's your 2 cents on this right here with regards to dollar index? What is your position on dollar index at the moment right now?
Yeah, I think given the fact that we're retesting the lows back in August to now, today's price action is actually a really decent U-turn. The dollar was one of the softest currency pairs all morning until around 10 o'clock. And then 10 o'clock Eastern time, the dollar got a nice little jump to the upside, holding that support level on dollar index. So, I look at the euro dollar as kind of the mirror image, right? If the euro dollar is at 120 and today's a really nice rejection candle, we're already down 50 pips. Like I shorted it at 19.99 on the euro dollar, and that's up to right now it's 19.51. So a nice little level. Again, you're looking at equal highs on Aussie dollar, equal highs on euro dollar, equal lows on dollar Swiss, equal lows on dollar index. Structurally speaking, it's a great spot to have those bulls really step up to the plate on the dollar index and start really holding those lows and protecting those lows and see if the dollar can gain some strength this week. Now, news on Friday, am I going to, wait until Friday to make a decision? Not really. I mean, we've got great levels on the dollar. And even if the dollar index falls, I suppose if it breaks lower and falls a smidge lower, we're looking at levels back into 2016, 2018. I mean, there's just so much support for the last 5 years on the dollar that even if it drifts a little bit lower, there's just so much divergence on it that I still see over the next, 3 months, like more so dollar strength than anything else. As far as like the next big direction, in my opinion, is going to be dollar strength. Right now, it's like the dollar's just kind of taking it on the chin. Nate, well, I guess the back of the head, like Nate Robinson style, if anyone watched that this weekend. But just the dollar might just be inching lower, and then we have that bigger wave of dollar strength coming. But I just think the technicals are really solid. I mean, euro dollar selling at 1.20, great spot to sell high. Aussie dollar at 7,400 to sell, great spot. Dollar Swiss to buy at 9,000, great spot. Like those are all fantastic levels to be looking at some dollar strength this week.
Yeah, to add to that, if you look at the chart right here, we've actually currently right now, Tyson is doing a fantastic job with regards to the webinars. We're busy talking about target trading max. If you guys are not in the sales webinars, and this is the first time you heard about target trading max, you absolutely got to get into the next webinar at 4 o'clock today. Get into the webinar. Tyson, we're going to be in the webinars this evening at 4 o'clock and at 7 o'clock. If you don't know anything about it, you don't have the link
Jose's
to that.
going to be on, but guys, I'm telling you right now, it's awesome. If you don't know what Gary's talking about, yeah, it'll be Jose and Gary, and it's pretty amazing. So
who's at the 7 o'clock? Who's doing the 7 o'clock?
At 4.
Who's doing the 7 o'clock?
Jose's on both the 4 and 7. Yep, with you.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so absolutely, if you don't have the links, you don't have the information, contact your account rep, get the information, get into the webinars. But just on that subject, if you take a look over here, we actually have called a euro US dollar sell. Today, target trading is called a euro US dollar sell. And look at this as well, just like Chris was mentioning. Here we're looking for a penny sell on the Aussie as well, Aussie US dollar. So we are seeing some change in direction. Look at the US dollar CAD, looking for a buy on that. So this tells me right here, if I look at this, and I've always looked at the target trading setups to get sort of like consensus across the board. And so right now it's telling me that we're looking for a stronger dollar. We're starting to get setups on most of the crosses, major crosses against the dollar. Aussie, Euro, I didn't check the pound though, but Aussie, Euro, CAD, all saying, and actually the Swiss as well, Swiss US dollar as well, all indicating buy opportunities on the against the dollar against the majors. So that was pretty interesting right there. So any trade that you guys want to talk about that is hot right now, that outside what we've just spoken about right now, because that's obviously good information for the traders. But what is there any information that you want to pass on, Chris and Tyson, on trades that you think are really solid right now? I know that the Euro New Zealand dollar is one that I'm going to talk about. Is there anyone that you have in mind right now?
Yeah, I like the pound New Zealand too. I think we're probably on the same page with the Euro New Zealand and pound New Zealand. I'm excited about looking to buy pound New Zealand all week long. As far as the money flow, turning point max, pound's been beat up, and New Zealand has obviously gained massive strength. And it might only be a couple day move, but we've got some bullish action coming in today. And I think that that's going to continue at least for a couple days. So pound New Zealand.
Let me support that with some technical analysis. I'm going to pass on to Chris to give me his choice of this week. But if you take a look over here, the reason why I'm looking at this, Tyson, is we've got a wave one down right here. Price moved up, and now we've got the price hitting the 1.618. I'm seeing divergence happening right here. So we've got divergence. We've got 1.618 hit right here. I'm looking at for at least about a 300 pip move and possibly a 450 pip move right here. So I'm already starting to buy in on the Euro New Zealand dollar. I think I've got a signal already on Right Trader Max that I'm using to trade on the 15-minute time frame. So you've got a 15 right here. And yep, we've got multiple entries already. So I'm already multiple entry in right now on the 15-minute time frame. So I'm bullish on Euro New Zealand dollar. Let's see if it holds. If it holds, we're in the money. If it doesn't, we'll have to look for the next opportunity. Chris, do you want to go ahead and talk about your setup?
Yeah, would you go to the New Zealand CAD on a daily chart and bring up the smart patterns? There should be a daily harmonic pattern on the daily setup for New Zealand CAD.
Another one that I love. We're short it, and we've been short for 2 weeks now.
Yep.
Took a little bit of a drawdown, but coming back pretty strongly today. But I love I assume the sell side. I hope the sell side anyway.
Yep. No, we're awesome. Short for sure. Yep. I'm short.
Yeah. Tell me. Okay. I'm actually in my own live trading. I actually am short, and I've had multiple positions on this as well. So tell me, Tyson, Chris, what did you want me to add on?
Would you just throw on the harmonic patterns, so throw on the smart patterns for everybody to see? There should be a daily. If you're on the daily time frame, that'll be perfect.
There it is.
Yep, there you go. So there's the harmonic pattern. So this is one of our, kind of our favorite pastimes. One of my favorite strategies is combining harmonic patterns with targets, and if you have overbought or oversold conditions. So in this case, we have overbought conditions. We have divergence, meaning price momentum disagree. We have a harmonic pattern. We have a pocket. We have all these reasons. So here's what I'm doing. I started shorting this at 9,000. I missed my 91.50 entry by 1.4 pips. So I'm hanging out. I mean, obviously it's not a massive bearish U-turn right now, but at least on the downside, if this thing starts to turn, I'm looking for 8,900. Now, current price is around 91.20, so I'm talking about a 200 pip move to the downside at the minimum. Now, if this happens to go a little bit higher, this could jump up towards like 9,200. But the reason I like this currency pair so much is this is commodity versus commodity. So we have, New Zealand's had some strength with risk on trading. The RBNZ's been pretty tight-lipped about being dovish. So that's been interpreted as they're one of the stronger banks right now. New Zealand's also been one of the countries that's handled COVID pretty well. So maybe that's another reason to get some love out of this. Plus the Southeast Asia trade agreement that went into effect a couple weeks ago. New Zealand, Australia are big partners in that as well. That's kind of a big play towards like China superpower and trade agreements. So if Australia and New Zealand benefit from that, that's a good thing for their economy. Anyway, we've talked about what currency pairs are trending. New Zealand's been a trend-friendly currency pair. New Zealand yen is bullish. New Zealand dollar's bullish. New Zealand CAD's been bullish. Aussie New Zealand's been bearish. So at this point, it's gone a little bit further, right? It's kind of overextended. It's overbought. You're seeing divergence. You've got the harmonic pattern. You've got the pivots that have been missed. So my plan is this. I'm short at 9,000. I'm trying to get short again at 91.50. I'm going to short it around 9,200. If I get some better confirmation on this one with a nice kind of short-term trend line break, I will start looking to add to my sell positions and try to add to my winning direction. So I'm looking at, even if this starts to drop now, I'm looking at 8,900 as a minimum profit target. If it goes a little bit higher, I'll just, carefully add a couple of positions towards highs, wait for some confirmation to sell higher, and still look for 8,900 as a pretty simple, straightforward profit level. So it's a straightforward trade. It's a great pattern. This one's probably going to take some time. I mean, the fact that it's ending the month today and we have a fresh month of trading through December, usually December trading can be tricky. We might not have, exact tops and bottoms forming, but I think this is a great trade to give this. I'm starting it this week. I've been in it, like Tyson said, the last couple of weeks, which I've been doing the same thing. I shorted it at 9,000, and I'm just patiently waiting. So give this one a couple of weeks, and I think you're going to see some amazing opportunities to sell it at current levels around 91.50, maybe a smidge higher at 9,200. But again, I keep saying, I like this currency pair because Brexit deadline doesn't affect it. Okay, election stuff probably doesn't affect it. OPEC going on this week, that should favor the CAD. If we see oil continuing to drift out towards $50, that should favor CAD's strength, which will help bring this one back to where we want it, around 8,900. So I think there's good news alignment with the technicals. Plus, one of my favorite technical alignments on this one with harmonics and pivots and everything else. It's a great setup. So I'm short New Zealand CAD.
I appreciate that because I am absolutely in that trade too, and I've got the same sort of view this next 30 days is to get invested in currency pairs that are not traded against the dollar, in currency pairs that are not affected by Brexit, just to get through the year, to finish off the year with a good finish. We had a great year, believe it or not, we've had a great year in trading this year. I know I have, and I know you guys have as well. So you're having a nice quiet finish off, maybe a couple of percent for the year to extra percent for the year to close off. Fantastic idea, Chris. Hey, just a quick one here. Let's jump into let's finish off the session here with Tyson with your view on some stocks to pay attention to. I know you called out a couple of great stock options. What do you got for us for this week?
Yeah, it's very interesting. We're in a super interesting time right now. And I talked to Chris, I don't know, about a month and a half, maybe 2 months ago, and I said that these SPAC deals they remind me of cryptocurrency back in 2017. And what it's allowing is individual investors to get involved kind of in the IPO process before the big initial pump. These companies come on, they come private, like the company, was it Snow?
Snowflake.
Snowflake comes public and just rockets higher. And the average investor isn't able to kind of participate in that. And what these SPACs are doing is it's kind of opening up the ability to participate. So these are blank check companies who then go out and find acquisitions. For example, there's a company out there called Flying Eagle. It's basically a SPAC. The ticker symbol is FEAC. The same thing happened with Fisker. If you guys remember, I talked about Fisker. The ticker symbol was Tortoise Investment SPAC. It's a blank check company. It said, "Oh, we're going to go buy Fisker," and it went from initially $10 and it rallied up. It's sitting at about $20 today. It went up as high as like 22, 23. But if you remember, the ticker symbol was SPAC. I started talking about it when it was initially, I believe, like 13, rallied up to 16, 17, then fell back down and then just shot up like a rocket. A couple weeks ago, about 3-4 weeks ago, I talked about a company called it was Kingston Capital. Yeah, Kingston Capital, and it's basically a battery play, and the ticker symbol went from KCAC to now it's QS, and QS is QuantumScape, and because it went from the SPAC to now it's the company. So Fisker went from SPAC, that was the ticker, now it's FSR, and so it's basically like the IPO. But when I started talking about this, if you guys remember, it was sitting at like $13 or $14, and I said, hey, this is going to be the next Fisker. If you would have bought then and held on, that was like 3 to 4 weeks ago. The stock is currently trading at $45. Guys, that is crazy. Now, the question is what is the next play? I love Fisker long term. I'm not necessarily completely sold on all these battery plays. We'll see how that. I think it could be big. There's a couple out there that are really interesting. The ones that I believe are setting up the best right now, there's one that I love. You should never fall in love with the stock, but I'm kind of in love with this stock. It's called it's Flying Eagle, and what they've done is they've got kind of a floor price of like $10. That's the fund value, and they're going to buy a company that's already basically a done deal. They're looking to close by I think mid-December, so we're talking in the next few weeks, and they're buying a company called Skills. And the ticker symbol is going to be SKLZ, which is kind of a cool ticker symbol. But the ticker symbol right now is FEAC. So follow me. It's trading right now as we speak for $14. I believe that anything under 20 is a steal. This is the same team that brought DraftKings public. DraftKings did the same thing. Went from a $10 SPAC to it started trading well over $50, $55. It's sitting at about 40, 45 right now. It's the same exact team. And actually, I think that this long-term is a better play than a DraftKings. It's a play on the mobile gaming business. but it's a couple different plays. It's a play on you and I's, mobile gaming. Let's say we want to, hey, we want to play solitaire. We want to play bingo. We want to play cards or whatever it might be on our phones. More and more people are doing that. But what it's also doing is it's a play for developers. So they're a platform where developers can go and actually develop games and then offer those games, get it to their, millions of people that play these games on their platform. So developers are going to go and want to, and then Skills gets a piece of that. So Skills gets a piece of it. So it's like the Amazon of gaming, right? So Skills get a piece of that. And then what also happens is it adds a competitive layer to these games. So for example, my mom could care less about sports, right? She doesn't care about football or basketball or anything. So she's not going to go to DraftKings and draft a team. But what she loves playing Tetris. She likes playing these little, bubble pop games and these skills games and stuff like that. And so she gets really good at these things. And what's crazy is what she can do is she can go to Skills, and let's say she's really good at one of these skill games. She can then invite her friend to play, and her friend can compete together and like, hey, let's bet $1,000 or let's bet $1. I'll bet you $1. You put up $1. I put up $1. I think I can beat you in Tetris or solitaire or whatever it might be. Whoever wins gets the money. And so it creates this fun competition, but actually people can make some decent amount of money with it too. There's stories out there of people making money. And then Skills gets a cut of that. So Skills gets a cut of the development and a cut of what the consumers get. And so I think the market for Skills, if DraftKings could be a $20-30 billion company, I think Skills, when it's all said and done, could be a $100 billion company. So my bottom line is this: it's sitting at $14 right now. I love this company long term. I think it's one of the highest growth companies in the entire world in the Inc. 5000, and it's a real company making a lot of money already, $250+ million already in revenue. So my target on this is a minimum within the next 2 to 6 months, and I think it could be sooner. Minimum $25, but I think that I'll be kicking myself if I sell this thing for anything less than 50. So I think you can buy it at 14. You can, if you want to do more of a speculation play. I'll share with you guys some of the positions I'm in. I'm in the December $12 or the December $10 calls for $4.20. You can also go out to February to make sure that you're capturing the big move. Go out to January, February. And I'm also in the February $7.50 calls. And I actually got in those for $6, but they're trading for $7.35 right now. So they're already up really big. If you're wondering, wow, does it still have a lot of, yes, I think I'm going to turn that $6 if it hits my target of 25. Well, then that $6 is now worth almost $12. So it's now worth almost $18, which means I risk 6 to make 12, or I risk 6 to make upwards of 18. So FEAC, I think in the next few weeks, we're going to be talking about it, just like we talked about Fisker, how that went on a big rocket ship rally, and KCAC. I think this is the next play. And it's my largest stock holding right now. Last thing I'll say is this: super weird market in that I am super bearish overall. But there are so many of these really weird niche markets, like the mobile gaming market, because of COVID and all that kind of stuff, that I'm actually really, really bullish on. So I can be really bearish on the overall market, but be really bullish on a stock like this. And as the market goes down today, I've got FEAC that's up 6% today. So it's a really good way to kind of hedge my portfolio, because these are kind of COVID plays too. So yeah, that's my favorite play. And so far, so good. The calls have been working out really well, and I expect the same with this.
Perfect. Fantastic. All right, guys, we've run out of time here, so we're going to go ahead and draw the curtain. Chris, final words on this week's trading?
Yeah. Look, I just my weekly outlook's gonna hit my YouTube channel here in the next probably 30 to 45 minutes. The one thing that I keep drawing traders' attention to, the reason I keep talking about this in my trading room, is if we take a look at the SPY, the DIA, the QQQ, all those ETFs that follow the stock markets, it was a big deal that the Dow Jones hit 30,000, but look what happens today. It's off by, It's off by 1.5%, 1.25%. We're not busting through those $30,000 highs. Bitcoin is up to, testing that $20,000 level. Is it going to bust through it, or is it going to be a resistance level? So I think that, we have a lot of things that are circulating around this unsettled election. We have Brexit stuff coming up. Like, there's still a lot of news out there that can throw the market into like either a falling from grace, or throw it and give it the rocket propellers it needs to go through the roof again. But if we can't make any major breaks above those indice levels, we're just sitting in a bunch of indecision. So as Tyson's mentioning, he's super bullish on very selective stocks, and I'm the same way. I'm like cautiously bullish on really good opportunities. I'm probably positionally bullish on great companies that are potentially going into a bearish cycle. I think that, a 12-year bull market is due to show a correction. I think that this catch-22 between COVID vaccine optimism, but coronavirus cases that are going crazy once again, and lockdown measures across the country and the world, that's puts the market in a really difficult spot. With if there are forward pricing things, we're kind of out of optimism. Like, now it's like earnings have to be a real part of it. There was essentially no foot traffic for Black Friday, but it's all, retail sales are up higher online. So there's just a ton of crap out there that we have to digest. But again, technically speaking, if I don't see price breaking higher or lower, we're just going to get stuck in indecision. So that means, just like you said, Gary, let's scale back on some of those, non-dollar positions. Let's scale back on some of those exposure positions, and let's, keep cash and margin at the ready to apply it with really good stocks, apply it with really good currency pairs. And I'm just looking to take the rest of the year and trade what I think is really strong and immune to all of the possibly the wild swings the market give us over the next 4 weeks. So I'm looking to play it safe, but also, safe with my margin, my cash, and make some big positions to hopefully pay out here in the next couple of weeks as we roll into 2021. So I know that's more of a summary, or more than a summary, but I just think we have a lot of stuff that we're still dealing with indecision-wise, but there's still so much opportunity to trade and be really profitable to wrap up the year and just roll into 2021 really strong.
All right, well, fantastic. Yeah, we still got we've got a lot of decisions still to be made in the election, so that's absolutely going to move the market in a direction. And I think the market is sitting at a position where, whichever way the votes, not the votes, but whatever way the final result comes to, the markets are just going to absolutely break out. So I think there's going to be still some big action between now and the end of the year, as we've got final results in the elections, but also at the same time we have Brexit coming up as well. So good choice there. Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Appreciate it, Tyson. Thanks for the input and the insight in the stocks. We'll see everyone back again next Monday for another session here at the AAA. So with that being said, have a great week, traders, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.